Hello crafty friends, my name's Alicia, but you can call me Crafty Al. And in today's video, I'm going to be using some of my new Gummiapan goodies to create a card that was suggested by a subscriber. I hope you'll stick around, find out more, and see what I'm going to create. Thank you so much for stopping by today. If this is your first time to my channel, I hope that by the end of this video, you'll be inspired to click on that subscribe button below and ring the bell for notifications. If you're already a subscriber and regular viewer, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here again. Last week, I stopped by and shared a look with you at my new haul from Gummiapan, which I bought from Color Me Nordic here in the United States. I was introduced to Gummiapan during my Advent series in December 2024 when my crafty friend Helga, who is Crea Bea here on YouTube, sent me their Advent calendar. And I have to say, I think we all fell in love with their fun dies. You can watch the replays of those videos by clicking on the playlist in the description box below. And I also have my Gummiapan playlist so you can see the other creations I've made with their products. If you're in the US or Canada, you can purchase Gummiapan through Color Me Nordic, and if you're over in Europe, you can purchase right through Gummiapan. I will have both of those sites listed down in the description box. Just a heads up, I'm not an affiliate with them, so I don't make any money on your purchase, but if you do use those links and go ahead and make a purchase, please let them know in the order notes that Crafty Al sent you. Last week during the interactive live, I made the card that is showing up on screen now. I used the flowers from their Crafty Advent calendar and this new crack die that I got to create that card. Now, when I was working on that, I said I loved how you kind of had that rough, brick, cracked, broken, distressed top layer, and then those pretty flowers showing underneath. Just kind of a nice juxtaposition. Well, Helga suggested in the chat that what if I use the crack with a rainbow coming out of it? And oh guys, I'm like instantly, yes, I have to give that a try. So today I'm going to be pairing the Gummiapan, I think it's called Crackle die, along with some products from my stash and see how we can create a rainbow breaking through the rough exterior of the card front. I hope that you're going to enjoy this video and see how I take subscriber and channel member input to create a new card. If one of my videos ever leaves you wanting something different, let me know down in those comments and maybe I'll make a video using that idea. Now, as I get into today's process, I will tell you about the other products and tools that I use, but as always, if I ever leave you with any questions, feel free to leave those in that comment section below and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. Let's get crafty! Before I get to the process, I did want to stop by with a special channel member shout out. I would like to say thank you and welcome to two of my newest paper trimmer level members, Adrienne and Shelly Reed. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you as well to all of my channel members. You keep me creating here on YouTube and help keep the last 2 years of Sheetload of Cards free for all subscribers. If you're interested in finding out more about the perks of channel membership, click on the join button below this video or the link in the description box. I'm going to get started today with the die cutting, and the rainbow I chose to use, which is Rainbow Bright from Tailored Expressions, has 6 different arcs, so that means I can easily create 6 cards. So I cut some white card fronts that are 5 1/4 inches wide by 4 inches tall. Now, using the crack or the crackle die, I'm going to figure out where that can go and still have my rainbow kind of break through it. So I'm going to place those onto the card fronts, get a good idea of where the opening should be, and then using some Scotch removable tape, I'm going to temporarily hold this in place while I run these pieces through the die cutting machine. To add a little more texture to these, I brought in the brick embossing folder from Tailored Expressions. Now this one is no longer sold, but you could maybe find a similar one, or maybe you already have one in your stash. I just love the extra texture it gives. Now the bricks are running the wrong way. They're running a vertical instead of landscape, but we're just going to ignore that because really, who's gonna look when we have the beautiful rainbow? And speaking of beautiful rainbow, for my arcs today, I'm going to be using one of my very favorite color cube cards, and that is number 367. In front of me here are the cardstocks that I pre-cut, and I will tell you all of those colors down in that description box below. Here's a look at all 6 colors cut out. I did use some post-it removable tape to hold all of the arcs together, and now what I'm going to do is go ahead and build each rainbow for the 6 cards. So I brought in another little piece of the removable labeling tape, and I'm going to start grabbing an arc from each one of the die cuts. So with kind of the purple color, I grabbed the first arc, the pink color, the second arc, the orange color, the third, and so on until I had one rainbow with all 6 colors. Now because this isn't your traditional Roy G. Biv rainbow, I don't think it's really going to matter that the arcs don't go in color order. I'm going to finish putting the rest of these together, again just using that removable labeling tape to hold everything in place. And here's a look at my 6 finished rainbows. Let me know if you love this fun color palette down in that comment section below. I brought back in one of those card fronts, and now I'm going to figure out where on that panel I can put my rainbow. So I slip in all of the arcs still attached to the labeling tape into the opening, and then adjust it kind of up and down until I like the amount of white space on the top and bottom. Then what I'm going to do is using liquid glue is glue down each arc one at a time. Now you will see here that I did glue extra, so you'll want to make sure you wipe that away. You don't want it sticking to your surface. But then what I did was I pulled off one arc at a time, got some adhesive added to the back, and I made sure that when I put it back in place, it was right butt up against the previous arc, and I tried to align that right edge so it was a straight line. Now for this first one, I left the bottom parts of the arc out of the opening, and you'll see here that once I pull away the labeling tape, I have to kind of fold them or bend them to get them back in there. For the future ones I did, as I was gluing each arc on, I did go ahead and slip that end into the opening. It just made it a lot easier and didn't bend the cardstock at all. Here's a look at that first one completed, and then off camera I finished doing most of the rest, so you didn't have to watch that. This was probably the most time consuming part, but it didn't go too badly. I gave each of those rainbows some time to dry completely, and now I'm going to show you how I cut off the excess. I got some long handled scissors, and I tried to keep that top blade right along the edge of the white cardstock and just sliced right against that. Just like with putting the rainbows together, the rest of this I did do off camera. For my card bases, I am using some white ones that I already have in my stash, and I decided when I put my rainbow piece on top of that, I needed something in that opening. So what I'm going to do is create a little sky, but first I took out a ruler and measured the piece that I would need, and I ended up cutting 6 pieces that were a 3 1/4 inch square. To make the clouds, I'm using this stencil that I got at Michael's, and to go with the blue arc in the rainbows, I'll be using Cookie Monster ink. Because this piece is pretty little and the clouds will be close together, I am using some mini blending brushes and just going right along the cloud edge. I am stenciling on top of a little piece of silicone mat. That way I don't have to tape down the stencil each time, because that keeps my cardstock and my stencil pretty much in place. When I get to the end, I do go in with some ink that was left on my brush and finish putting just a little tinge of blue down there. And here's a look at those clouds behind the opening. Let me know if you think this was a good idea to do down in that comment section below. I went ahead and I finished the other 5 pieces, so now I have 6 cute little sky backgrounds. Once those were all stenciled, I brought back in the card fronts and I added a cloud background behind each of the openings. I used liquid glue and I just lifted up a section at a time and pressed that down and gave these some time to dry. For the sentiments on today's card, I'm going to be using Hope Today is a Good One from Kristina Werner's new Checking In stamp set. To go with the Plum Punch arc, I'm using Gina K Designs ink, and I pre-cut some scraps of white cardstock that I knew the sentiment would fit on. I got this first one set up and picked up with the door, and then because it is a new stamp, I took some time to remove the oils from the stamp with my fingers, and then I inked it up with that beautiful purple color and got it stamped onto the scrap. Now once that first one was stamped, because I used my mini MISTI, it was super easy to just pull in the next piece of cardstock, ink up the stamp again, and just keep going until I had all 6 sentiments. To cut these out, you could definitely just keep them in the squares or maybe use a circle that fits, but I did use the coordinating die so that I just had a nice white border around the words. Once those were all die cut, I brought in one of my cards and figured out where I wanted the sentiments to go. Because my card was pretty flat so far, I did go ahead and put some foam tape on the back of each of the sentiments, and before I put that down in place, you'll see there I did put on some liquid glue. This is going to give me some time to move that sentiment around, get it nice and straight, and place exactly where I would like it. I added the rest of those, and then off camera to finish the cards, I used some Tailored Expressions drip drops to add a little bit of sparkle. And here are some close-up looks at the finished cards. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I put together today's card and made those rainbows break through that brick wall. If you did, as always, a thumbs up is appreciated. Until my next video, I hope you're all having a crafty day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch all the way to the end of the video. I hope now you'll consider clicking on one of the videos or playlists I have linked above. And if you are interested in any of the products or tools I used in today's video, I do have some links in the description box below.